Hey there, guys and gals, friends and foes. This is Back at the Cereal Box. I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, Johnny B. You can call me Johnny. And this is not Saturday, this is Monday, but we had technical difficulties on Saturday. So we're recording this on Monday so that we do it in the month of March so that we don't miss the month. And for this episode, I am chowing down on a bowl of frosted Cheerios. Nothing really fun on the back of the cereal box. Just good morning start with Cheerios. But these are really good. I'm not a huge Cheerios fan, but I really enjoy these. Mmm, mmm. Oh, so good. Dry, they taste like Frosted Flakes. But we're going to add some milk and we're going to give a scale of 1 to 5 bowls of cereal. And we are using the coconut milk. So this is going to give us a kind of a sweet coconut flavor. This could be good. I don't know. I switched from almond milk to coconut milk, and I think I'm going back to the almond milk because all I taste is coconut with the coconut milk. Although, with the frosted Cheerios, that tastes pretty dang good. The coconut milk tastes really good with the sweetened Cheerios. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 bowls of cereal. Now, for those of you who have never seen an episode of this show, you don't know what it's about. I'm your host, Johnny, and this show is all about celebrating the fun of the Saturday mornings of our youth, my youth in particular, Gen X Saturday mornings. And that meant big bowls of cereal, prizes from the cereal box, and Saturday morning cartoons. So many of you will remember, and I forgot to get this out, so I'm going to get it ready to pull out of the cereal box while we are recording live on air. This is unrehearsed theater right here and now. So many of you will remember pulling prizes out of the cereal box. And in this case, if I reach in here, I have a crayon box. But you'll notice there's a space here. Well, that is for this green crayon. Now, I don't know about kids today, but when I was a kid, Crayola crayons, coloring books were the thing to do when it was raining. When we couldn't go outside to play, we were coloring books. And some of us, we were coloring books regardless. It was, a fun pastime. But check this out. So the crayon, the green crayon, goes into the crayon box. And check this out. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, it is cut into thirds and it fell out of the box. So let me grab these off the floor. Look, 3 pieces right out of the box. So we're going to put these back in. The top, the bottom, and the middle. There you see. There you see it. I've got to not lean it quite so far forward. There you see it. All right. And check this out. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Back together, just like the beginning. That's a little bit of magic. And that just happened. And this is the kind of prize that you might have found in a box of cereal. There was a cereal called oh, what was it called? It was called something Tricks. It was not Tricks. Tricks, I thought. So funny story. When I was a kid, my mom said, "Do you want a bowl of Tricks?" I was watching um, Land of the Lost, and I thought she was talking about magic tricks. And I was like, "Well, yes, hello." And she brought me a bowl of the cereal Tricks, but there was also a magic themed cereal, and someone is going to have to help remember what it was called. But there was a period of time when Kellogg's partnered with Marshall Brodeen, and in the cereal box and on the back of the cereal box, they had magic tricks, and then they would teach you magic tricks. And that this crayon, this what they call a tri-cut crayon, is the kind of trick that you would have. Back then, it would have been a pencil. So we'll do this one more time. We'll try not to have it fall out. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Up, top still fell out. I leaned it forward too far. But here you can see 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Back together. Ta-da! You've seen it twice now. And that's the kind of magic that I would have learned when I was a kid on Saturday morning, reaching into the cereal box and pulling out that prize. Anyway, cereal, prizes, cartoons, comic books, action figures, pro wrestling, kaiju movies, Godzilla, that was all part of the Saturday morning. And I showed this off on a separate episode earlier this week, but I'm going to show it to you again. You can see all of these individually out of the box. This is the Mego Avengers 4-pack. And let's see if we can get this light out. No, it's still showing. Anyway, we've got the Hulk, we've got Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. This is only available at Disney stores, parks, in the parks. Disneyland park stores. Little confusion there. Still recovering from that stroke a year ago. You can only get them in the park. So if you have a friend who has a pass, or if you have tickets to the park, go get them. And you'll see I have a whole bunch of Megos behind me. Fantastic Four. I've got the G.I. Joes. I've got Spider-Man. I've got the Justice League. I loved, when I was a kid in the 70s up until 1980, Mego was the toy line. This was, before Star Wars, and I would love to see Mego do a Star Wars cooperation. But I had them all when I was a kid, and they got destroyed, played with. My brother tore some of them apart, and about 5 years ago, Mego started reproducing and re-releasing, and I've been collecting those figures that I loved when I was a kid. The one that I haven't gotten the Green Arrow yet that I really want. Green Arrow was one of the best action figures ever made, but the best ever made, in my opinion, was the Marvel Falcon figure. It was perfect. Perfect. And it was my favorite as a kid. I carried it with me everywhere. It got all torn up. So I would love for them to redo the Falcon action figure. So I should have said this at the beginning. We are going to be talking about this morning a popular animated series that became popular when I was in late high school or college years. I'm talking about Justice League Unlimited. Now, this was a series that continued where the Justice League series ended, and it picked up from there. And before we get into everything that is available on, well, before we get into reviewing the actual series, let's talk about some of the printed material. So these are a couple of series in comic book form that came out in recent years. We've got Justice League Adventures. This is pretty much the first Justice League series. And then Justice League Unlimited, this picks up where the animated series was, with the very broad Justice League base. And then if you loved the original Justice League, and you loved Justice League Infinity, this is a new series that just came out maybe a year or two ago, Justice League Infinity. And it continues where Justice League Unlimited stopped. This continues the story. And I did a back issue Breakfast Club review of the trade paperback collection. And maybe we'll put a link to that down below so you can check that out. But last year, DC decided to relaunch the Justice League as Justice League Unlimited. So this is our back issue Breakfast Club right now. And this is basically that idea of the Justice League being comprised of all of Earth's heroes and some heroes that maybe aren't, like Star Sapphire. She was a villain prior to this, and in this book, she's one of the heroes. Here you can see them rushing in, and Star Sapphire is right there. This is written by Mark Waid. There's 2 volumes in trade paperback form so far. The first volume, and then the second volume is actually We Are Yesterday, and this is a crossover between World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited. And it tells the story about how Gorilla Grodd is trying to take over the planet. And it's all set up in these 4 or 5 issues. And I think this is 5 issues. Let's see. Volume 1. Yeah, 5 issues. And this continues it with issues 6 through 8. And World's Finest, 38 and 39. So Grodd has recruited the character of what is he called? Airboy. He's a character that can transform into sound and radio waves and can transmit his frequency all across the world. And let's see, what I think he was called Airboy. Is that correct? Airwave. Golly, Airboy, where was that coming from? I don't know, but Airwave is the one who recruits characters from the time stream and saves the day. So, great 2-part story that basically picks up with the same concept as the Justice League Unlimited animated series. And we're going to talk about that animated series in just a moment. Here's my only problem with this series. It's written by Mark Waid, The art is Dan Mora, one of my all-time favorite artists. But and Mark Waid is an amazing writer. However, this series, it is very obvious that Mark Waid knows more about these characters and their history than the reader. And at times, it gets a little bit convoluted. It rushes really fast, and you got to slow down and kind of reread some parts of this because Mark Waid is just writing it at super fast pace. I mean, he's just cooking. So I highly recommend these. And there's more coming out. I think they're up to issue 17 on the series. But just know that when you read it, if it's a little bit confusing, you may need to just slow down, reread it, and maybe go back and do some homework on those characters and their stories. So that leads us into Saturday morning. Justice League Unlimited. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was in college by the time this came out. When Justice League first came out, I was finishing up high school and going into college. And I was very focused on a career in theater and music, and I just did not watch it. A couple of episodes, but not fundamentally, not regularly, not on a regular schedule. But Tubi, 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 Tubi bought the animated series from Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers, and they have put them on Tubi a little bit at a time. But among the first ones was the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and I never watched Justice League Unlimited. I'd never seen an episode. So it was free. I took the opportunity to sit down and watch it. And you guys, pretty much I was blown away. This is one of those series that the Justice League was already there, but once you add the Unlimited, this becomes one of those series that, in my opinion, is better than the original. And there are a few series that are like that. I will say Justice League is better than Super Friends. I will say that, in my opinion, The Batman is better than Batman the Animated Series. And there are several like that. The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, is better than anything Marvel had done before or since, and definitely better than the 1980s Avengers, United We Stand. And there's probably about 5 or 6 series that fall into that category where the subsequent series was better than the original. This is one of them. So let's talk about a few of the episodes and a few of my favorite moments, starting with this episode where Morgan Le Fay grants Mordred, well, he steals power from Morgan Le Fay, and he decides all adults are gone. And to preserve the League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, she turns them into kids under 12. So they can go and fight Mordred and free humanity and bring back the adults. Very cool episode. And it's funny because even though you see the characters' fundamental attributes, it's very much like watching a kid with Superman's moral center. It's interesting. Then there's this great episode where uh, Supergirl picks Green Lantern to uh, help her. Green Lantern and the Question, and she has to fight against a clone version of herself that looked a lot like Power Girl with the you can't see what I'm doing here. The the cleavage window. Let's put it that way. Um, that's her above. And then there's an episode where Lex Luthor is recruited by the Justice League, and the Atom shrinks him down microscopic to stop the awesome android. And in the end, the awesome android deducts that he's wrong, and he is taken by Dr. Fate, and he is joined by Aquaman and Hawkwoman in Dr. Fate's Sanctum Sanctorum. And that's where they hang out. I should have put that first. So Dr. Fate shows up, and he takes the awesome android. And there was an episode with Hawk and Dove. And this really turned me off. I have never been a Hawk and Dove fan, and this episode proved to me why. That's all I'm going to say. One of my favorite moments in the entire show was this. I want to say this right. These are the ultimum, it's like ultimate men, ultimum. Anyway, these are souped up versions of the ancillary Super Friends character. Here on the right, you've got the Wonder Twins, and they've got the Wonder Twins power, water, and animal shape changing. In the middle is Apache Chief. That's not what he's called here. I forget what he's called, but he grows to giant size. Here you got Vulcan, Black Vulcan in the Super Friends, an electric powered character. And on the left is the leader, Samurai. And that's not what they're called. I can't remember their names. Forgive me. But it was very cool to see them. They were created by Project Cadmus, by the Amanda Waller, the Task Force X leader. They were not created to last a long time, and there are multiple versions of these clones out there to replace them as these clones die off. It's kind of grim and gruesome, but it was very cool to see some original Super Friends and their powers in action as both heroes and villains. But then we got to talk about my absolute favorite episode. My absolute favorite episode was this. This is basically the Magnificent Seven. Actually, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Magnificent Eight. This is a story where our heroes are tossed back into time, into the Old West, where Jonah Hex and El Diablo and Bat Lash, here's Bat Lash and Wonder Woman. It's Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Batman are, they time travel, and they have to fight this character who's taken over as the sheriff of the town, and he's got these futuristic weapons that he brought from the future, and it is just an unbelievable adventure. I loved this episode so much. I probably need to go back and watch it again because there are character names that I don't remember, but it's the Chrono Master is the one that creates the time machine and he's trying to get it back and he ends up stuck in a time loop going over and over and over again as kind of his imprisonment. And again, this series had a lot of really heavy, dark themes. You know, we've got characters getting killed, we've got characters dying, characters being trapped, and we see the return of Hawk Girl eventually. She had been banished, self-banished from the from the group, and really, yes, it was written as a follow-up to the Justice League animated series, but I feel like it was far more adult and mature. And if you're me, a Gen Xer, it's really easy to get into this series and to really enjoy it. So I want to encourage you, go to Tubi and check out Justice League Unlimited. And I'm about at the beginning of the third season. They did 2 full seasons and then like a half of a third season. And I'm just starting the third season. But really good, really outstanding. And I would love to know your thoughts about Justice League Unlimited. Can you dig that? I knew that you could. Now, if you guys like our show and you want to see us continue and to grow, you want to see a co-host join me here, become a sponsor, support the broadcast at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. It's running down below, so you don't have to remember it. You can write it down, type it in, go to patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. Become a supporter. $1, $2, 5, 10. Every level gets something different. For free members, you get free episodes, bonus episodes that we post at Patreon first before they become part of YouTube or Facebook. If you are one of the higher contributors at the $10 level, you get sneak peeks at comics that are based on Saturday morning animated series. You get to read those sneak peeks before they're available in newsstands. So some really cool stuff. And if you want to find some past episodes, if you want to listen to past episodes or past videos, all of the links are at our website, backofthecerealbox.fun. And you can go there and find past episodes, links to YouTube and links to Apple Podcasts and links to, you know, all of the places where you can find us. And of course, to Patreon as well. There are things that are only on Patreon, nowhere else. So you want to be a subscriber at Patreon as well. So anyway, that's it. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you think about Justice League Unlimited. I want to know what you think about Frosted Cheerios. Have you tried it? By the way, if you want to learn some magic like I just showed you in this episode, this came from Illusionist. Illusionist, they are called dum, 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 Trick Starters. Trick Starters. They are available at Walmart. However, you'll probably be able to get them easier if you just order from Illusionist. So, and we'll put a link in the text description of this episode. Well, guys and gals, we're at 30 minutes, so we're going to call it a night, a morning, an afternoon, whenever you're watching this. We hope you had fun. Make sure you comment, share this, and whatever you do, remember, love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Ta-da! Bye.